Yeah, I'm Art Ernst, and I was charter president in '64. And it was an interesting situation. Judge Spencer and Ed Rogers from Banker's Life called me on the phone and wanted to come to my office. And they said, "Do you know about Kiwanis?" And I said, "Yeah, I think it's an Indian tribe down in Kansas." And they said, "No, we want to talk about it." So they came out and we had some discussion. They explained what it was, and then the next day they called up and wanted me to recruit some people and meet them for dinner, and we did. So that was the beginning of it.
And in my early years, I was really not very active because I traveled quite a little bit, and Wednesday being the middle of the week, frequently I was out of town. But to try to make it as often as I could, and I guess the thing that sticks in my memory are the fellows that were really the leaders at that time. I was not one of them. Art Ernst, for one, was certainly top of the list, and we just had a whole raft of really strong people.
Well, I'm Dick Earl, and I was a charter member, and I was president in the year of '87, '88. And by the way, Ken, you were president in '73, '74.
Right, thank you.
I was wondering if we were co-presidents.
We knew you'd remember.
I didn't remember, I got it written down.
You got a crib sheet there.
Yeah, well,
That helps a lot.
I wrote down some things because my memory isn't worth a hoot.
Okay. Well, I'm Jim Williams, and I'm a charter member, as you know, but frankly, I don't remember some of the circumstances. That's been 50 years ago, and I'm not a young chicken anymore, so my memory fails me. But we've had some very interesting experiences all through the years.
Yes, to get it started, I told you the initial meeting with Judge and Ed Rogers. When they called and said, "Would you recruit some other members?" I played it close to home. I got Herb Glancy and another member from my church, Dwight Nelson. And then I got my two bankers, John Knight and Clark Kellerman. And Jim Eno was putting screens on our window of the parsonage, and I talked him into joining. I think someone else had talked to him previously. But we had a contest to see who could get the most recruits. And I won that by one. So I was Kiwanis of the Year the first year. It was just that small amount of work. But it was fun getting started. I was amazed at the intelligence and the camaraderie of those people that joined Kiwanis, because we passed on the program that we had been told and asked if they wanted to help make Northeast Lincoln a better and stronger area. Every one of them was that type of people. Some of them did not join. They were not that kind of people. Larry Vaughn was president of the Capital City Club. John Fry was a member. They transferred their memberships temporarily so we'd get enough to start out.
Wes Furr was the guy that contacted me. He lived in Lincoln, worked out of Omaha for a farm management company, and Wes just kept dinging me, and I finally told him I would join just to get him out of my hair. But
That's when you had hair.
yeah, well, I had more than I do now.
Our very first project, as you remember, was the profit we made from the fruit cakes, those ignoble fruit cakes. We had Mrs. LeBaron from Lincoln Plating Company speak to us, and she was an officer in Whitehall. And so we sold the razors. We sold the fruit cakes and got enough money to buy razors, Norelco razors for all of the boys and hair dryers for all of the girls. And that was our very, very first project.
When we first started out, we didn't have any money, as Art can remember. And so one of our first service projects, we built a dollhouse for the kids up at Whitehall. And one of our members, Dwight Nelson, had a construction business, and he had a boneyard where he had a lot of used lumber, and he gave us the lumber to build a dollhouse.
Yeah, the dog dunk would stand out in my memory. I remember that white dog. It was mostly white, but it was usually whiter by the time he got out of the dunking tank.
I want to say one more thing about the dog dunk. That's the reason I didn't get kicked out of the club, because I owned the tank and provided the limbay.
It was white.
And so they took him over to the tank and dunked him.
Dunked him and he ran over there.
And then usually they had a leash on him and they'd take him out where he'd shake. Well, this guy didn't have a leash on, and the dog turned around, ran back to the car, to his van, jumped into the car, and then shook. I wondered if that guy ever got the sheep dip aroma out of the station wagon.
He probably sprayed it with Febreze and sold it.
Oh, I forgot that part, but I sure remember that dog.
I remember.
They brought it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Some of the most interesting speakers we had fairly early was John Nyhart, poet laureate of Nebraska, and I happen to be his brother friend, which is in Indian lore is the closest relationship you can have if you're not blood brothers. So we got him there, and they liked him so much they made him an honorary member of the club. He was very proud of that, and I have a letter that he wrote back and thanked us for that. Another person that spoke was Jesse Owens, the Olympic champion from 1936 over in Germany. What a wonderful speaker he was.
I think probably the formality of our meetings. In the early days, we always wore coats and ties. We had a Kiwanis pin on our lapel, and that's kind of the way you expected to be appearing when you came to Kiwanis. Today, it's a little bit more relaxed. You know, jeans are in order, and people feel perfectly free to bring their little children to clubs, and which I think is a wonderful way to go.
And by edict of the International Committee, we were not allowed to have a happy hour before the meeting or during the meeting.
Yeah.
That was taboo.
Well, another thing that really has helped our club a lot is when they let women in.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's been a great boon to us. They've taken a lot of leadership, brought in new ideas.
Up until then, Kiwanis wives were called Kiwani-ans. I don't know if they still use that terrible term or not. But I think they may have dropped it when women were allowed to enter the club, which is the best thing that ever happened.
What advice would you give the Northeast Lincoln Kiwanis Club for the next 50 years? What words of wisdom do you have for us?
Well, for me, the most important reason that I belong to Kiwanis is, number one, gives me a chance to be involved in service projects. And number two are the meeting speakers, the ones that kind of keep us up to date with what's going on in the community. That's the only way we really have of hearing that for the most part. So those two things, I think if they are continued as a strong emphasis of the club, I think they'll do just fine. Come along, listen up to Milford's song. Sing along around this gong, you simply can't go wrong. It will just stir you up from your head to your toe, give you the feeling only campaigners know. He's got the spirit of Kiwanis in his blood. Go out and teach, even preach, the work that Milford's done. Locally, divisionally, and for the district, he's the one who will lead us on to greater heights and on. Kiwanis, come on along, join the throng. It's Milford's campaign song.
It says, in general, we are 270,000 strong. Specifically, we are now 34 members of the Northeast Lincoln Kiwanis. Together with the fellowship and cooperation of the other Kiwanis clubs of Lincoln, Nebraska, and we all go forward as we begin the next 50 years to serve our community. That next 50 years is up.